Hello and good evening. Thank you for watching UBC television. Welcome back. It's the 10 o'clock edition with me, Wadulo, Mark, Arnold and Mugalu, Mohammed on sign language. Without further ado, these are tonight's top stories. In our news tonight, Deputy IGP Major General Paul Lokech is announced dead. UPDF leaders mourn Major General Paul Lokech. Still in defense, funeral service for Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa held in Buziga Barrio is going to be Sunday. And Kadaga optimistic that the 6,000-kilometer cycling safari will propel East African communities' integration. Once again, thank you for joining us. We now give you the news in detail. The Uganda Police Force has eulogized the late Major General Paul Lokech, referring to him as a statesman who always loved his country. The Inspector General of Police, Martin Okoth-Ochola, through a Uganda Police Twitter handle, announced the demise of the Deputy Inspector of Police, Major General Paul Lokech. The police spokesperson, Fred Enanga, advised the general public to disregard what is circulating on social media regarding the cause of his death, but remain calm until a final post-mortem report of the Major comes out.
His master.
Ugandans have been hit by the sad news of the death of the Deputy IGP, Major General Paul Lokech, who died this Saturday morning.
It's a great loss to the police fraternity, and the Inspector General of Police came out to condole with the family and all members of the police. It is also a great loss to the UPDF fraternity, where he is a member of the UPDF at the level of Major General. We want to confirm to the public that the late Major General Paul Lokech had served with the police for 8 months following his appointment as the DIG by His Excellency the President around the 16th of December 2020.
According to the police mouthpiece, Fred Enanga, Lokech's demise comes in as a surprise and leaves a vacuum in the force.
It's, of course, a very big loss to the police fraternity, because he will be remembered for his level of dedication, commitment, and hard work. There was a lot of progress that he had instituted in the police force. So we are grieving because he really had honor and integrity in his work methods. He would always put bravely put his country first, and took the risks to ensure that Ugandans and Uganda as a country is safe.
A tentative send-off program has been issued by the police force.
We expect the body to be viewed at his home on Tuesday, the 24th of August 2021. That is at Chitichi Fumba in Chira, after Shimon demonstration school. Then on Wednesday, that is the 25th of August, we expect the body to leave Kampala to his home district in Padel, and it is on Thursday, the 26th of August, that tentatively we expect burial to take place at Baibir village, that is in Ludele parish, which is in Padel Town Council, Padel district.
Enanga also urges the general public to desist from spreading rumors concerning his death.
And you have a lot of people who really want to be ahead of others by sharing information, but from a professional point of view, we ask the public to disregard whatever could be attributed to the cause of death until a thorough pathological report is issued to the public.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Furthermore, members of parliament from Acholi have described the fallen General Lokech as a humble man and someone who loved his job. They say Lokech has dedicated his life to not only protect Uganda but the entire East African community. General Lokech died on Saturday morning at his home in Bwate, Chira.
Mourners, mainly comprising of relatives and friends, continue to flock the home of Major General Paul Lokech to condole with the family. The Chief Justice Alfonso Windolo was among those who came in mid-morning on Saturday. Members of parliament from Acholi, who were also at the general's home, described him as a humble and someone who loved his job.
For us as Acholi people, we have always found a shoulder on him. It's a very big loss for us. We shall forever miss him because he was somebody who loved what he was doing. He loved the people, generally, irrespective of the political affiliation, irrespective of the religious affiliations. And today, we can't take it. It's not easy to accept that he's gone.
Today is a very sad moment. It's a very sad moment that the country has lost a very professional soldier, very young and very talented person. It is so sudden. Right now, as I talk, at home in Kitgum, in the entire Acholi is mourning.
They say Major General Lokech devoted his entire life to protecting Uganda and the East African region.
Lokech dedicated almost all his life to defend and protect our lovely country, Uganda. He went through a lot. He went to places that had a lot of challenges, where there were Al-Shabaab in Somalia. He did a lot for the country. He came back alive. And as a country, we're proud of that. We are so proud of what he has really done for this country. When he came back in the country, and he got the position of Deputy IGP, we thought we were secured. It is saddening, really, that we have lost a gallant son.
He has been a man of the people. He loved the people. He loved humanity. He laid down his life on many occasions to save humanity. The country has lost a great personality.
The local council one chairperson for Chirekadi village says Lokech has been a loyal resident and he enjoyed working with him.
He's been here for the last 5 years, 6 years in my area. We have worked together. He was down to earth. He proved to ourselves as LCs that he was a servant leader, whom we never knew that he was an army man until he put on a uniform. Down he could consult every LC, nothing he did without consulting the LC.
The army spokesperson, Brigadier Flavia Biakwaso, says UPDF has lost one of its gallant commanders in the name of General Lokech, who has served UPDF in various capacities, including foreign mission.
So it is a huge loss to the institution. It is a huge loss to the people of Uganda, to the country generally. These are commanders. When we talk about a commander, not everyone has the capability to be a commander. So when you talk about losing a commander of Major General Paul Lokech's capability, it's a big loss.
This is the entrance to the general's home. Journalists were blocked from entering the home, and all other details concerning the general's death remain scanty, especially what has exactly killed the general and when he will be buried. Philip Aguta, UBC News in Chira.
Quite unfortunate. Now from Chira, we take you to Gulu, where the sudden death of the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Major General Paul Lokech, has been received with sadness, disbelief and anger. On the streets of Gulu City, the news about the demise of the son of the soil has left people in shock.
Gulu and the entire northern Uganda is mourning the death of Major General Paul Lokech, who passed on at his home in Namugongo this Saturday morning. The Gulu NRM Party Secretary, George Ovola, described the death of Major General Paul Lokech as equivalent to the death of 1 million people.
General Paul Lokech is one Ugandan. First of all, he is one icon that we cherish a lot. Losing him like we have lost 1 million people in this region. And I wouldn't want to say how much, but his contribution for this country, for this part in the peace talk, we shall always miss him.
A veteran journalist, John Muto, who has also known the late general since 1981, is full of praise for the man who came to be known as the Lion of Mogadishu.
I am shocked by his death. He's a man who's doing a very good job in solving the mystery of crime in this country. Personally, I knew him because we trained together in Kabamba Military School. He was an intelligence officer, the first division headquarters, when I was the part of the monitor. So we always interact with him. So this death shocked me.
The former Noya District Deputy LC5 chairperson, Kibota Betty, was left in tears after receiving the news.
When we received the very sad news about the death of our son, General Paul Lokech, having been brought to that level, when somebody who have been very, very active and participatory in the activity within the government. So we just say, may the good Lord rest his soul in eternal peace.
She calls on the family to collect themselves and move on. Youth leader Daniel Rwachkara reflects on the inspirational image that Major General Paul Lokech had on the youth in his native Acholi sub-region.
Some of us have grown up to this age looking forward to be the other Paul Lokech in this world. What does it leave us, the young people, if we so much admire to grow, develop, and become future leaders of this country?
The Deputy Inspector of Police, Major General Paul Lokech, is dead, and Paul Lokech was appointed Deputy Inspector General of Police of the Uganda Police Force on 16th December 2020. Major General Lokech joined the National Resistance Army, which was later renamed Uganda People's Defense Forces on 1st February 1987. Lokech is one of the commanders credited for breaking the back of the Al-Shabaab militants in Somalia when he was commander of the UPDF contingent between 2011 and 2012. Now, because of his relentless confrontation with Al-Shabaab insurgents and capturing key historical places like the Red Mosque in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, then the then Brigadier Lokech was nicknamed the Lion of Mogadishu. He previously served at the Uganda mission in Russia and a division commander before his assignment in Somalia. Lokech also served as Air Force Chief of the Staff and served as part of Uganda's peacekeeping forces in South Sudan. He was part of the Operation Safe Haven, a UPDF operation in the Democratic Republic of Congo intended to neutralize the rebel group ADF.
Major General Paul Lokech, the Lion of Mogadishu. He is a hero, a statesman, brave fighter, and a Pan-Africanist. Major General Paul Lokech is one of the best UPDF commanders who have earned the army huge respect on the continent due to his dedication and selfless service. His military career includes service in various leadership capacities, including 2 tours as the command of the Ugandan contingent to Somalia as part of the peacekeeping force, where he performed very well, earning him the title, the Lion of Mogadishu, from the Somalis.
That's one of the reasons that made us move out to ensure that we take the war to Al-Shabaab and push them far away
from inflicting casualties on the civilian population within Mogadishu.
He has also served as part of Uganda's peacekeeping forces in South Sudan. He was part of Operation Safe Haven, a UPDF operation in the Democratic Republic of Congo intended to neutralize the Allied Democratic Forces. His first tour as commander of the Ugandan contingent to Somalia, commanding battle groups 8 and 9 between 2011 and 12, he registered lots of success. It's at this time that the UPDF managed to eject Al-Shabaab militants from Mogadishu in 2011.
When we came to this theater, it's a bit difficult because we are fighting in a built-up area. So the best we had to do was to adapt. We had to adjust ourselves very fast to fit within that type of fighting. Of course, fighting in an urban area or urban terrain is the most difficult warfare for any military in the world. The challenge of an urban warfare, in particularly to the UPDF, was that we had been fighting counterinsurgency in an open terrain. Mostly when you look at the northern part of Uganda, we had been operating in southern Sudan and then Congo areas. This is a different terrain from what we have got here.
Here, when you have not controlled the corridors and the tall buildings, that's where the problem is. But once you have already controlled the corridors, you have already constructed the escort barriers, and you have entered the tall buildings, then you take the day.
In the build-up areas, we find that the enemy, Al-Shabaab, and with their foreign allies, because Al-Shabaab is being backed by foreign fighters, and then you find they have dug tunnels. They are fighting along tunnels, and these are new concepts we did not know. They had bunkers within the build-up areas. They have dug tank ditches, so that in case our armored vehicles are moving by, they could always fall into those tank ditches and they target it. But all the same, we had to move hard to ensure that we overcome those challenges, and we did. The only option is to move forward and take the war to the enemy. Because we were sitting in one place and the enemy could keep on throwing mortar shells in our positions. Even the airport was under threat. All our roads, our lines of communication were under threat. So the best option was to move the enemy far away from our position. So first phase was to move towards Bakara. Not to capture Bakara, but move towards Bakara. And we achieved that around the 28th of May. We achieved that, and that is Wana Road. Second phase was to get Bondere. And when we got Bondere, it gave us now, it expanded, it created, it gave us now room to move on the enemy from a lot of prongs.
He also commanded the UPDF in September 2011 to expel the Al-Shabaab militants from Bakara Market.
The economic hub that Al-Shabaab had been using to raise funds or revenue to support its operation, and that was Bakara. Mogadishu Stadium is so strategic to us because it controls the inlet into Mogadishu. So when you are sitting on Mogadishu Stadium, you control the bigger inlet into Mogadishu from Denley. Currently, the enemy can only use Afogoye, Denley, and then come to the stadium. Via the stadium, they could go to Bakara. So when we closed the stadium, that means Bakara became irrelevant to them. They could not defend Bakara anymore when we captured here.
I just hope their stories will still be told.
He was briefly sent to Moscow as a military attaché to the Ugandan embassy. He returned to Uganda and sent to the 2nd Division in Western Uganda to replace Lieutenant General Peter Elweru, who had been promoted to Land Forces Commander. In November 2019, he was appointed for a special assignment to monitor on behalf of the guarantors of the South Sudan peace process, the assembling, screening, and mobilization of the armed forces in South Sudan.
Forgotten, our heroes so brave and bold. Our heroes have been forgotten. Our heroes so they got old. Our heroes have been forgotten. Our heroes so brave and bold. Our heroes have been forgotten.
fallen hero's soul rest in eternal peace. Now, the death of the former AMISOM contingent commander, Major General Paul Lokech, has left the country in tears and shock. However, what does this mean to the investigating of high-profile cases in the country?
So that therefore means the next season is going to be very difficult for our people, because if our people cannot produce this year because of the flooding, then that means next year there is going to be problems regarding food.
He rose to prominence when he led operations that led to the liberation of Mogadishu, Somalia's capital city. This was under the arrangement of African Union mission to Somalia, showing his ability to command, earning him the unofficial title of the Lion of Mogadishu. He had since never looked back, serving in various capacities, including his most recent deployment of Deputy Inspector General of Police.
My heart is at peace now that justice has been done.
The senior military officer had since taken to leading investigations in high-profile cases. The recent attempted assassination of Minister for Works and Transport, General Katumba Wamala, saw him swing into action.
We have collaborated the attack to the previous attacks that you had in the city, the killing of Kawesi, Major Kigundu, and even the robbery in town.
Progress in this case has been made with the arrest of some suspects to the welcome of the victim. Katumba Wamala, who lost his daughter in the assassination attempt on his life, expressed hope in the investigation process.
In Nansana, in cheap hardware, this guy was the one who was involved. Mudinka, with Master.
He made this compliment to the investigative efforts by police shortly after appearing before the Parliamentary Appointments Committee for vetting. This is clear indication that Lokech's service in police may have been short, but the impact was felt. So, as the Lion of Mogadishu joins the Lion of Judah in heaven, General Paul Lokech will be missed for his passionate and dedicated national service.
So we anticipate this flooding is going to have a negative impact on the agricultural production.
Henry Okrut, UBC.
In another news piece, UPDF fraternity politicians and family members flocked Buziga to pay their last respect to the body of the Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa, who died at Max Hospital in New Delhi, India on Tuesday. Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa, who was 65, one of the 14 generals retired from the active service of the UPDF earlier this month at a function held at State House in Entebbe. By the time of his death, he was the commander of the UPDF Center for Doctrine Development and Synthesization.
Of the late RO 00026, Lieutenant General Pecos Onesimus Kutesa, officers and men of the UPDF and fellow mourners. Condolence message. On behalf of officers and militants of UPDF and on my own behalf, please accept our heartfelt condolences at this moment of grief following the demise of our beloved General Officer, your son, Lieutenant General retired Pecos Onesimus Kutesa, which occurred on the 17th of August 2021 at Max Circuit Hospital, India. The cause of death is natural. Himself, although we are same rank, he was very, very senior to us as far as the service in the forces is concerned. But we were friends in a way. He always looked out for me. I remember when I was the commander of the Armored Brigade based in Masaka, and would be going to Yakaigura, he would never pass Masaka without checking on me. And some of you who follow events of the national functions, I'm always by his side. Even in these meetings, whether it is High Command, whether it is Army Council, somehow we set up a relationship that all the time we sit together, and he had a very incredible brain power. He had the capacity to follow the proceedings in a meeting.
A normal family, that we are not raised in a normal family. You find us arguing about things that are not family related at all. He respected me so much. He would agree with my decisions regarding family. We never argued about finances, about property. He had this disdain for amassing wealth.
Age, God gave Daddy the army. He became a soldier at a young age. He fell in love with the army. And the most important thing I'd like to say today is to thank the army, UBF, for blessing my father, for giving him a purpose. That's all he cared about, that's all he thought about. And just the family affairs, God will take care of you. Don't understand this.
Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa has been part and parcel of what we are seeing in Uganda. The liberation, ridding Uganda of the dictatorships that we saw in 1979 during Amin's regime. Kutesa was one of those people that fought Amin. So Kutesa, Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa has been around in the revolution of Uganda. He's been around in liberating Ugandans from dictatorships, from tyranny. He's been one of the vanguards of the socio-economic transformation of this country we are enjoying today.
A challenge, it's a big loss, losing a man like General Pecos Kutesa. It's a great loss to the country. But we are so grateful that he has made a great contribution to the liberation of this country. And also, his wife has shown us what it means to love by sacrificing her liver, which was donated to her husband when he needed it. It is a real sign of sacrificial love, of sacrificing your organ. It's the real fulfillment of the marriage vows. All I have, I give to you, and I share with you. She did it, and she has loved the husband, and because of that sacrifice, General Kutesa was able to live for more 12 years, and this is the time he has made his commitment to Jesus Christ. We have lost him, but his first life, like a son of a revivalist, and now middle life was different, but also the last life has been more fruitful.
Let's take a short commercial break and return after these messages.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Central Points when you deposit, send and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go. MTN.
By almost exactly 2 seconds, he's Joshua Cheptegei of Uganda. This is superb running.
I've shared my story with the world, with you, but you've only seen the half of it. Because to truly know and appreciate my story, you will have to see it for yourself. My home, my Uganda. From the breathtaking waterfalls of the Nile to every beautiful sunrise and sunset. From the amazing blankets of green to the priceless treasures that lie within. Along the way, I have met some unusual friends. The world-famous silverbacks. When I see them, I behold Uganda's treasures. So yes, you see me and celebrate Uganda. I assure you, there is a lot more in store. I have lived here for years, but even I am yet to see its full glory. Join me. Let's take on the Pearl of Africa together.
Echa COVID-19 kijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Experience 100% 4G speeds across Uganda with the Airtel 4G Pocket Wi-Fi available at 123,000 shillings only. It comes with a backup battery and 15 GB free for 1 month. Visit the nearest Airtel shop, device selling shop or Airtel online shop. www.airtel.co.ug/broadband-discover. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. It's still the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. We now take you to more news stories. 3 senior local government officials in Padero district are in police custody over supplying farmers with blind cattle in Padero. Padero RDC Dusman Okey is not happy that the officials used government money to supply underage and blind livestock to 17 groups in Padero district. The trio were arrested on Thursday evening from Pokor sub-county on orders of the Padero President District Commissioner. Dusman Okey after a meeting with the affected farmers.
Tolanya and Okeni are accused of conniving with Oto to supply beneficiaries of the NUSAF 3 in Pokor sub-county with 7 blind cattle. The 7 blind cows are part of the 36 that were supplied on the 4th July this year to Loyokak Animal Traction, Agungi Wigweng Animal Traction and Gangba Animal Traction. The concern was raised by Richard Ojuni, the Pokor sub-county chairperson. Okey ordered for the arrest of the 3 and had their statements recorded over the allegations and sabotaging government programs. The 3 were then picked by security personnel who were part of the meeting and whisked to the Padel Central Police Station.
These are the so-called animals that have been brought in as oxen. It's good enough that we continue to monitor these government programs. Unless we monitor them, we will get road news.
The Pokor sub-county chairperson Richard Ojuni said that he had carried out monitoring among the beneficiary groups and confirmed that the cattle were unhealthy and some of them blind. He applauded the RDC for taking swift actions against the 3, whom he described as those sabotaging government programs and perpetrating poverty in the Acholi sub-region.
The animals were supplied, the beneficiaries were not trained. Now, after giving the supply, is when they now came to start again training the beneficiaries. And they did not follow the guidelines for the supplies.
The chairperson, Loyokak Animal Traction Group Simon Oroma and his colleagues had raised concerns of receiving blind cattle and tasked the RDC to apprehend the 3. While speaking in the meeting before his arrest, Bosco Otto said that he had bought the cattle from Bulisa district while still healthy, noting that he was shocked to learn of reports that the cattle were instead blind and unhealthy.
It's supposed to be 2 to 3 years old, and when you look at them, they are not even more than 1 year. The body weight should be between 150 kilograms to 300 kilograms. This one cannot even reach 50 kilograms.
There are 17 groups that have benefited from the NUSAF 3 project in Padel district under the supply of 12 cows and 6 oxen for each group.
The administrators of St. Lawrence Academy schools and colleges have commended the online teaching introduced by the Ministry of Education and Sports as the best thing that has ever happened in Uganda. They say that their candidates performed well in the just released 2020 Uganda Advanced Certificate of exams because of the online lessons.
The administrators of St. Lawrence Academy, schools and colleges have celebrated the success of their students in the just released USCE results. The teachers attribute the good performance to hard work, fear of God and good relationship between the school's administrators and tutors.
We've achieved and want to thank God because he has been there. Senior 4 he was with us, and now here we celebrate Senior 6 results excellently with very good performance.
All our students have passed very well. They've performed really well. All the students have got principal passes that are taking them to the university.
They also say their candidates performed well in the just released 2020 Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education exams because of the online lessons.
Would like to thank the candidates for embracing all the programs that were set aside by the school amidst the hardships, and we continue to celebrate and believe in God for more success.
Want to thank the rector, want to thank the teachers, want to thank all the administrators, want to thank the non-teaching staff and our very esteemed and dear parents for paying the school fees.
Students unusually excelled at all the 6 campuses that make St. Lawrence, which include Horizon Campus, London College, Pari Pari and Creamland, among others.
My teachers over there, I recognize Madam Habiba. Very interesting. Celebrations for Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education success have continued across the country. The Senior 6 National Examination results were released by the Minister for Education and Sports in Kampala on Friday.
In Shema jubilation, joy, dancing with godly songs have dominated as teachers, students and parents celebrate the good results scored in USCE. At Kibingo Girls Secondary School, the best student there scored 18 points.
I'm very happy we have just received the USCE results, and we are very glad that our girls performed very well. With our Kebirungi Shine, who has scored 18.
At St. Charles, Luanga songs of praise were played as the school community jubilated.
Because of the prevailing conditions put up by the administration, the board of governors and other stakeholders, the students themselves were educated about the need to do sciences. We are following the presidential guidance that we should do sciences in schools.
The best student scored 19 points from PEM combination.
I have been offering PEM ICT and I managed to get 19 points. Physics B, and A, and Maths A. Yes, I'm feeling well because I have passed and excelled, not even passing, but excelling.
At St. Kagwa High School, the best student, Dalton Ankunda, scored 20 points.
I still thank the President for the science laboratory that we are given. And I still request that if the President can give us what is needed in the laboratory, the apparatus, the chemicals, so that we have a well-established laboratory.
There are also celebrations at Kitagata Senior Secondary School where one of the best students, Jonathan Anyine, scored 18 points.
I feel proud because of the good results received for the USCE 2020. Our first student is Anyine Jonathan, DCM, with 18 points.
At Impumo the Seed School in Jinja, the best student is Hilary Kasimbazi, who scored 15 points in PCB. Kasimbazi, who is ironically an orphan and has been studying on scholarship under the Universal Secondary Education, wants to offer medicine and surgery at the university.
I thank God for helping me achieve all that. Thank my teachers, my parents for helping us all to get and acquire all what we needed. One of my expectations is to pursue a degree in medicine and surgeries from a recognized government institution.
The school head teacher Samuel Mwesigwa says that despite the excellent performance, the school is challenged by lack of structures and teachers for A-level.
We want to thank the government for committing resources because this is a government school. However, we have some few challenges. We also need more structures. We have a few classrooms here, but the children are very many. The staff is limited. We still need more teachers so that we are able to handle the universal education.
Mpumu Desid School, that has 720 students at the heart of Jinja City, is the President's initiative to extend free education to less privileged secondary students, especially those who completed universal primary education.
I feel really good that our son Hilary and other students actually at Senior 6 have performed well, despite that this is a seed school. Many students and parents think that there is nothing good from a seed school. I personally have served in Mount St. Mary's, Namagunga and Gayaza, but I find the quality of education here is equally good.
At Mbale SS, 2 students scored 20 points, with the 7 getting 18 aggregates and many others scoring between 14, 15 and 16 aggregates.
The year 2020 results once again have showed that there's been a marked improvement. 2 of our students scored 20 aggregates, that is in the PCM.
Bugisu High School also returned wonderful performances which were attributed to hard work and commitment from all parties.
During the lockdown, I had to form a WhatsApp group where we had the students being engaged over the holiday. We sent them work. And when the president also gave us an opportunity to come back to school, what we did was to ensure that we covered the syllabus in time.
The head teacher at Mbale Progressive SS, that produced the 3rd best student with disability at national level, appreciated the efforts of teachers and commitment of students.
We equally have one of the best candidates in the country with a disability. This girl has been deaf, but she has emerged as the best candidate at national level. So given the circumstances of COVID-19, we really appreciate the effort of the teachers, the parents, the learners and all stakeholders.
The parish priest of Christ the King, Kampala, Gerald Kalumba, has urged the religious to lead a life that brings people closer to God. He was the main celebrant during Mass, where a young lady made her first religious profession as a daughter of St. Paul before the local superior senior Bernadette Lutaya Nkangwa.
Like priestly ordinations, some sisters are also making religious vows, committing them to the service of God. One such a lady is Sister Clara Baide Adela Atrinde, who committed her life to the evangelical counsels of chastity, poverty and obedience before the clergy, friends and relatives. Sister Clara Baide Adela Atrinde made her first religious vows before the local superior, Sister Bernadette Lutaya Nakagwa, and committed her life to evangelizing using means of social communication.
You consecrated me yourself in baptism, and now you call me to follow more closely Jesus, Master, way, truth, and life, among the daughters of St. Paul.
This was during Mass at Thekla Formation House in Kampala. The parish priest of Christ the King, Kampala, Monsignor Gerald Kalumba, urged the sister to imitate St. Paul, who is at the front of the congregation, boast about God being with us.
Through hunger and thirst, through frequent fasting, through cold and exposure, and apart from these things, there is the daily pressure upon me of my anxiety for all the churches. Who is weak and I am not weak? Who is ready to sin and I am not indignant? That is St. Paul, the one who is at forefront of the community you are joining.
The local superior, Sister Bernadette Lutaya Nakagwa, says that their main work is to use means of social communication to evangelize. you want.
Through music, through written word, which are the books, and then audiovisuals, those are the CDs and the DVDs. So through that, we reach out to as many people as possible.
Sister Clara said that she was grateful to the Lord who called her and to all those who have journeyed with her to the first religious profession.
I thank Him for the graces that He has given me to reach up to this moment. And I also thank the sisters of the congregation for supporting me, for accompanying me with their prayers, the way of life, and all the ways that they could. And not forgetting my formators.
A fruit from one of the many visits we make around Uganda that has come to see, and after seeing has come to stay, and today has said yes to the Lord. It's such a joy. So I can say she was my aspirant in a remote form, but the Lord has walked with her through the many other agents. We have had many other formators.
Daughters of St. Paul were founded by Father James Alberin, an Italian priest, in 1915. They evangelized using means of social communication. Vincent Wamundu compiled these reports.
Echa COVID-19 kijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
And now it's time for business. Straight into it. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is the author of the Presidential Initiative on Wealth and Job Creation to benefit people in the artisan world. Now, although there has been glaring discrepancies in the expenditure and utilization of Emyoga funds in some districts, others have registered several success from the seed money. Lira is one of the districts doing fairly well in the implementation of this Wealth and Job Creation Initiative, where SACCO members have begun reaping big from their businesses initiated by the Emyoga Fund.
In August 2019, President Yoweri Museveni initiated Emyoga as a strategy to transform the 60% Ugandan homesteads from subsistence to market-oriented producers. Through the SACCOs, the program provides residential banks for members in the informal sector that did not benefit from the different agricultural programs.
This is it.
Samuel Logwal is among the 60 members of Irute South Mechanics SACCO. He borrowed 2.4 million shillings from the SACCO to establish a motorcycle spares shop at Abonroad Trading Center, Gali Sub-County in Lira District. With the proceeds from the business, Samuel is now able to cater for his family of 7.
When you get a loan from a village saving, you pay it with the 10% in 1 month. But this one, pay with only 3% in 4 months. So, for the active Ugandan, or for the active person who really think widely and focusing on his or her own development, would come and get this money off Emyoga.
Erute South Restaurant Owners is another group in the district. Janet Amori is the chairperson of the SACCO. The 4 associations that came together saved 600,000 shillings before receiving 30 million from Microfinance Support Center. They used the money to start a catering service business from which they are getting 1 million shillings on average monthly.
Eka wanu to don ke di chente maro to wogoda ranka dachi paisto kati choru tia me jame wa chente meti wanu juha ranka wacha auto wot ke de kati nyurni chente mero miwa me wela ranka wanu ke roping eka dan wanu pawapa.
This one is one of the best dream that His Excellency the President has ever had amongst all the dreams that he has had since he came to power. You remember he talked about Entandikwa, he dreamt about Bonabagagawale.
Lira is said to be among those few districts which has been able to utilize the funds without much discrepancies.
Lira district is performing very well, and I can even give you one of the circles. They gave them 30 million, that is Lira municipality saloon operators. Right now, as I talk, they have over 78 million that they're giving out.
We must be among the best 3 in performance. We urge other leaders in other districts, if they don't know how things move, to visit us so that we give them the success story and inculcate more knowledge as far as circles are concerned.
And they that will make good use of this very money will get much more money, because it will have shown that you are a good steward.
May God bless the business entity.
Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
Now, at least 400 selected villages will be connected onto the digital television network by StarTimes, a Chinese-owned digital and terrestrial TV service provider. This follows the unveiling of the second phase of the China-sponsored Access to Satellite Television project that targets thousands of villages across the African continent.
The Chinese government has launched the second phase of the Access to Satellite Television for 10,000 African Villages project. This follows the successful implementation of the first phase that ended in 2019.
Through satellite, we can get together, work together, learn together, and then people will get the access to the outside world, to expand their vision and to understand the world and to encourage them to work even harder.
The initiative being implemented by StarTimes, a digital terrestrial television and satellite television service provider, strengthens the cordial relationship that exists between the Chinese and the Ugandan people. In the project, each selected village will acquire 3 sets of satellite TV equipment in the public area, complete with a solar system.
And the criteria is the village should have power. The roads should be passable. Because remember, we have our installation team, they have to move to far villages.
And this is our projector that is going to be given to the different areas, especially schools and the community areas where people can come and do public viewing. This is meant to enable that people, those who can't afford at home, to be able actually to go to their community centers and watch for free.
This phase comes at an unprecedented times when the world is grappling with the COVID-19 pandemic. One of the key sectors of the economy that the project seeks to complement is education.
Especially the primary school, so those schools studying at home, if we can develop further training programs, training in skills, agricultural skills, for example, or in curricular development, even in a local language. I know English is the major official language here, while at the same time other ethnic language like Luganda language. If we can develop further in their local language, I think people at the local area will benefit a great deal.
In Uganda, the type of learning methodology we use is the traditional classroom, and that is what we are used to. Right now, we are trying to roll out online classes. This has been initiated individually by schools, but also supported by the government. Government has supported this program by bringing in content.
The initiative is described by the Chinese Economic and Commercial Councillor as a people-centric investment, since it caters for the less privileged masses and enables them to connect to the digital world. Dennis Igor for UBC News.
Furthermore, efforts to eradicate illegal fishing on Lake Albert have been eased upon an agreement between Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo fishery officials. Originally, both countries acting on their own, it was difficult to get lasting results on this largely vast lake. And at the worst led to security tensions between the two countries.
Several illegal boats and nets have been destroyed following an initial joint effort by Uganda People's Defense Forces and their DR Congo counterparts against use of bad fishing gears on Lake Albert. This joint patrol for fisheries enforcement to curb illegal exercise was launched on the northern part of Lake Albert at Day landing site.
We had regional meetings. These regional meetings were between the Republic of Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And the meetings were in Mahagi town, and the date was on 3rd August. In that meeting, both countries agreed to conduct a second set of regional joint patrols. And a number of areas were discussed. They agreed on the dates when to start these operations, the period when we should be conducting these operations. Actually, what we are doing right now here is also being done by our counterparts. It arises from that joint communique that was signed, and it was agreed that these operations will be conducted for 3 weeks.
The local fishermen are optimistic this move of joint patrols will enable progress once respected by both parties.
We agreed to comply with the government, with the policy of the government that say people should stop using illegal gears. We should continue, we should start changing, developing the recommended gear so that we can ensure the good quality and quantity of fish in future. That one is very perfect.
The commander of the Fisheries Enforcement Unit, Lieutenant Colonel Dick Kaija, confirms that the memorandum of understanding between the two countries is the beginning of an era that will solve many issues on the lake.
The objective of this is to ensure conservation on the shared lakes is sustained. 2 is also to harmonize the policies on the fishing because the lake is shared. For example, ongoing talks between the two countries on fishing of silverfish and fishing using lights, which Congo does not allow, and yet it is legal in our country, Uganda.
The operation that will be on both lakes Edward and Albert has been integrated in the Fisheries and Water Resources Management LEAF 2, which is a project under the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries. Such operations elsewhere, like on Lake Victoria, have yielded fruit with better quality fish.
And now on the international scene, the gap of vaccination rates between wealthy and less wealthy countries continues to expand on the African continent as a result of vaccine shortages, a World Health Organization official said on Thursday. The World Health Organization Regional Director for Africa, Matshidiso Rebecca Maweti, said that there have now been more than 7.3 million cases on the African continent and 184,000 people have sadly lost their lives. After several weeks of steep increases, the third wave of the coronavirus is leveling off on the continent as a whole, she said. The World Health Organization plans to vaccinate at least 10% of the population of every country across the world by the end of September. However, the disparities in vaccination rates between high-income countries and other countries continues to expand, Maweti said. Maweti said that the lack of vaccine equity for Africa is devastating, as people across the continent have only a fraction of inoculations compared to wealthy countries. Uganda's first Deputy Prime Minister and also Minister for East African Community Affairs, Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, has lauded organizers of the 55-day Great Training African Cycling Safari that will cover 6,000 kilometers. Kadaga believes such an initiative involving cyclists from across the entire East African region is a conveyor of the East African integration. Kadaga was at the flag off of more than 100 cyclists that are embarking on the second phase of the trek that has so far covered 2,400 kilometers.
The theme of this edition is Green Africa, Experience Africa, Integrate Humanity. I've just planted the integration tree here, and I hope somebody is going to take care of it to make sure that it grows as a symbol of your visit to Kampala. You have experienced Africa, you have driven from Dar es Salaam, you are now heading to Chanika. You are seeing the people, seeing the environment, seeing the infrastructure, making friends. So this is what it's about, integrating humanity. The fourth edition was flagged off in Dar es Salaam on the 1st August 2021 by Dr. Peter Mathuki, the Secretary General of the East African Community. It will take 55 days and cover 6,000 kilometers. It will end on the 25th of September 2021. So far, they have covered 2,400 kilometers, and I congratulate them all for the progress so far. The enthusiasm with which the cyclists have been welcomed en route is a clear testimony of the capacity to promote unity, peace and development through sports. This activity will hopefully be part of the calendar of activities of our ministry. As we cycle the next border, we have also planted trees, so greening Africa. We are giving them a memorable experience to the participants, as well as integrating the citizens of the community. I appreciate the support of the Ministry of Internal Affairs for the route plan, protection, and escort services, as well as the immigration facilities at Malaba, and of course those they are going to meet at Chanika. I thank the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs for the service of the Uganda Rapid Deployment Capability Center and the refreshments provided on the tour.
Uganda's national basketball team, the Silverbacks, have continued to prepare for the Afro Basketball Tournament that gets underway next week. Team coach George Gallan-Paulus speaks perfect conditions in place for the team that is in Group D alongside Senegal, Cameroon and South Sudan.
Yeah, it feels great. I think it hit all of us when the group saw each other for the first time this morning. There was a positive energy about the group that we remembered from when we won against Morocco, in Morocco. So I think everybody's just excited to be here. We're excited to see each other. This group really enjoys being around each other. And then once we get everybody here, we're missing about 3 players. I think everybody will be excited just to be together finally. The time that we have together and the time that we have on the court specifically in between the lines just becomes that much more important. There's no room for a bad day, even a bad drill at times. You got to make sure that the group is as present as possible playing together and trying to make sure that we're maximizing the time together as much as possible. But there's no excuses. There's no excuses for lack of preparation, travel errors, or guys not getting here until later and before we start. There's no excuses. We just got to go out and we got to play with the group that we got. We can achieve as much as we want to achieve, as much as we decide. We think that our fate is within our control, and we're going to operate that way, and we're going to work as hard as we can with the time we have together and see what happens. He adds defense, which we always want. He adds shooting, and he adds leadership. Even though he hasn't been around this group before, his personality and the way that he carries himself, and the level that he's played at in the States, in college, Division I at San Diego State, he's going to bring a wealth of experience that's going to be able to lead this team in those areas. So we're very excited to have him.
Well, and that brings us to the end of our 10 o'clock edition of the News Tonight, this 21st day of August 2021. Thank you for joining us. My name is Wadulo Arnold Mugalu Mohammed on sign language. Have yourselves a good night.
I'm Sharon Nakajidi today with the weather information from Uganda National Meteorological Authority. Today by 9 a.m. we had Masindi reporting the highest amount of rainfall of 26.7 millimeters. Soroti reported 22.7. As for Kasese, it was 2.6 millimeters. The satellite taken over Africa today shows that the rain-bearing clouds are still over our country, Uganda, coupled with the moist winds from the Congo forest. Tomorrow morning we are forecasting light rains over most parts of of the country apart from the south, where we are forecasting sunny intervals. Later on in the day, we shall have light rains over most parts of the country. Temperatures are expected to rise up 28 degrees Celsius in the north. That includes Gulu, Arua and the neighboring districts. As for our capital city, Kampala, we are forecasting 26 degrees Celsius. While for Kabale Highlands, temperatures are expected to go up to 23 degrees Celsius. For international weather forecast, we shall have light rains in Nairobi, Paris and New York. Temperatures will go up to 27 degrees Celsius in New York, while for Paris, temperatures are expected to go up to 22 degrees Celsius. London, we are forecasting cloudy conditions at 22 degrees Celsius. That nicely concludes our weather forecast today. Till tomorrow, have a great night.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.